feel like there's a lot of like frustration when a lot of times the stories told very artfully. I like a lot of them. We've had them as guests on our show, people who leave Orthodoxy and then say the story. And it feels like you contend with something that's real and alive while you're still surrounded by it.
Yeah, I'm still in it. I'm still modern Orthodox. Well, first of all, we have to understand that modern Orthodoxy is an extension of Judaism, which is that, you're Jewish. I say in the show that Judaism's like the Hotel California. It's the mailing list
Yes.
you can never unsubscribe from. And so a Jewish life is a life that is entirely, it's not optional. And so that requires some effort on the part of the individual and reckoning with that, but it also requires some effort on the part of the institution and the kahila in accepting people who maybe have lives or compulsions or, lifestyles that don't fit in with tradition. Like frankly, modern Orthodoxy has to get its arms, like in my ideal version of modern Orthodoxy, it gets its arms around thorny issues that different people within the community find unacceptable. And I, can feel modern Orthodox listeners already recoiling.
No, this is great.
But I think that the Judaism that I dream of is one that doesn't sacrifice, that is still deeply rooted in traditional values, but is equipped to deal with modern challenges. You need to deal with the fact that female rabbis is something that the Orthodox community or modern Orthodox community needs to reckon with. I worry that more conservative elements of I say that not politically, I mean religiously, more conservative elements of the Jewish spectrum has abandoned inclusion to the liberal elements. And I worry that the liberal elements has abandoned rigorousness to the more conservative elements, if that makes sense.
That is actually quite profound. But I think I'm asking a different question, and I know we're tight on time, but I'm wondering if you could weigh in.
No, go ahead.
How did you figure out how to share your particularity, the specificity of a modern Orthodox upbringing?
The specific is universal. Everyone has a background that they feel beholden to. Everyone feels like there's a line in Jackie Mason's show that was quoted in this article in the New York Times a few weeks ago that he said, non-Jews walk out of my show and go, it's a hit. Jews walk out of my show and go, it's too Jewish. But our experience is a universal experience. The movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, every culture looked at that movie and was like, that's my Jewish wedding. That's my Indian family. That's my Malaysian cousins. The modern Orthodox story is very about the tension between traditional and modern. That's a universal story. The question about assimilation in the United States, that's a universal story. It's not just us who have, our stories, every personal story, including and especially Orthodox and modern Orthodox ones, have great valence to, one of my favorite books is the book, My Name is Asher Lev by Chaim Patak.
Sure.
It's this incredible book about a Hasidic child who wants to be an artist. And Tom Hanks on Alan Alda's podcast said it was his favorite book. And Lin-Manuel Miranda has talked repeatedly about how he desperately wanted to adapt it before Hamilton. I assume Lin-Manuel Miranda is rather busy. And someone said to me, how does Lin-Manuel Miranda, how can he connect to My Name is Asher Lev? And I said, oh, you mean the guy who's the son of a proud community organizer and maybe one of the most prominent, Lin-Manuel Miranda's father was and remains one of the most influential Puerto Ricans in the United States. And his son wanted to be a slam poet. Yeah. So I think he probably can understand a book about a Hasidic kid whose father is a very important emissary for the Lubavitcher Rebbe and decides that he wants to be an artist. Sorry, that's a long example.